Having interacted, okay, let me see. Replaying Reach for the first time in a few years. Nah, man, this was pure cinema. Dude, Reach, I think Reach was a pretty decent goodbye for Bungie leaving the series. They did a lot. It was very innovative, and it gave us something entirely new without losing the authenticity of Halo. I'm sure there's things that they messed up. I think like adding sprint and abilities and loadouts in a way kind of messed it up, but the cinematography, the atmosphere, seeing all the dead civilians and being ambushed by suicidal grunts. Reach really knows how to set the tone. The situation has never felt more dire. Yeah, Reach was really good. Reach was very atmospheric, especially the way that they decided to like do the cameras, where it seems like you're not. It's like you're watching history. You're watching something that has already happened, has already passed, and you're just putting together the information instead of it being narrated to you cinematically like how Master Chief's story was. Let's see what this says. Having interacted with troons and feminist women in real life, I can tell you they don't have the emotional depth or mental clarity to make anything like this. That's just the first sentence, guys. This dude's going in. This dude is going in. Their brains are scattered from hormones and SSRIs. They can barely keep a single train of thought for a sentence. The depth required to make something beautiful like this game requires a depth of suffering they don't have and can't experience. All their pain is self-inflicted by political delusion. They have no struggle in life. I think there's a point to be made here where there are definitely groups of people that, I shouldn't say just groups of people. I want to say our current society has placed such a high pedestal on happiness and being in a state of happiness, treating it like it's euphoria in its own sense. And because of that, we devalue what struggle is and the importance of struggle and overcoming. All these actors, celebrities, entrepreneurs, basically a lot of the people that are worshipped, most of them all had to struggle. There's rarely the amount of people that succeeded through struggling than compared to the amount of people where everything was just given to them is vastly different when you compare the two. And I think like when you have this mentality of victimhood of, oh my gosh, you've ruined my state of happiness, you've ruined my state of euphoria, it's harder to tell stories that are empathetic, because empathy is the actual ability to walk in someone else's shoes, to understand why they're making the decision, to understand why someone's choosing to work so hard or to make a sacrifice. But if all you're doing is trying to keep your state of happiness, you're never actually making a sacrifice. You're only ever trying to just be related to. You're trying to get people to feel bad for you. You're trying to get, and relatability isn't as strong as an emotion or as useful as a tool as empathy is. It's the power of pity. It's something that's very short-sighted, and a lot of times these emotions are only 15 minutes at a time together. So men do. And when men made games, they were good. They were excellent. They make you feel incredible range of emotions. They inspired you. They told good stories. And I do agree that there is definitely a one-sided figure to this when it comes to like men, if we have a society where we want to protect women and women have overreached that and they've gone too far in that direction, men are on the opposite direction where they're supposed to take in all the pain. They're supposed to be the protectors. They're supposed to learn that, hey, when it comes down to a home invasion, you're the expendable one. Men are the ones that get drafted. We are told by society to make sacrifices for the betterment of our neighbors, for the betterment of our family, and it makes entire and complete and utter sense why these types of stories resonated so highly with other men and so highly with large populations of people, because they do that. But whenever you make stories that are just for your state of happiness, for your, you're trying to preach to everyone why it's okay that you should do what you do, it you can't even get a group of women to fall behind it. That's why these studios have so many layoffs and have so many people that end up losing their jobs because of that. And it's important. It's because that state of happiness is only relatable to that person. You can't. It's hard for even other women to relate to that specific situation other than, oh, that sucks. You know, oh, I'm sorry, girl. Oh, yes, queen. And so with men, when you see them fighting for their country, fighting for their planet, pushing themselves on the brink to the other edge, there is empathy there. There is, wow, look at this guy struggle. And I think like women can access that too. We just haven't adapted our society to know how to deal with toxic women. We've been so afraid of men. We've been so afraid of toxic men for so long that we've created a ton of simps, foids, and Karens to basically combat toxic masculinity, but now we don't know how to deal with the toxic femininity, the simps, the men that think that acting more like women is going to get them in the club, get them on the good graces of those that are now the matriarchy that's in power. And then the men, the foids, the young women that think they know better, that think that it's okay to sympathize with own group bias and that they get to, as long as everything fits within their virtue signaling ideology, it's okay. And the Karens that just want to complete and utter control of you. There isn't enough accountability, and honestly, there isn't enough just outright bullying of people who, or fighting back. I shouldn't even just say bullying. I said just fighting back toxic females, toxic femininity. And that's why like Halo is what it is now. You put a toxic female in the game that all she wants to do is talk down on Master Chief, and it's like, you're supposed to relate to me because you took my ODST. Well, show me what sacrifices you'll make. Show me how hard you're willing to work to live up to the ODST name, to show that you don't want to be outshined by Spartans. If you show me that, people would have empathized with you way more, Lieutenant Williams. But instead, they hate you because all you're doing is you're trying to get them to relate. She's upset that she's lost her boat of happiness, and now she wants to get it entirely back. And that's the issue. That's the issue with writers today, and that's the issue with society today, is that like that's toxic females. And what is toxic femininity? Well, it's just women acting like toxic men. That's it. That's what they think a strong, independent woman is the very thing that they tried to destroy from men. So we can't have that anymore because men have ostracized from gaming. Every IP, a trooned out husk being worn as a skin suit by freaks who hated the men who made and played those games, and they don't make any of it anymore. They contract it out to turd worlders who use AI. And this guy's right. This guy's on the point. And I kind of agree with him. And it's hard not to when there's so much, when there's just a mountain of evidence that also agrees with him as well.